when you start feeling better, eating better, moving better, and you know that the things you used to enjoy really weren't doing you a great deal of good. I'm at the point where I don't even do that anymore. I don't go, oh, just one piece. I'll just cheat today and I'll get back on it. I just don't do it anymore because I don't want to do it to myself. The only people we would be cheating or getting one over on was ourselves.
All right, welcome to the Fit Vegan Podcast. I'm your show host, Maxime Sigouin, and I'm the founder and CEO of Fit Vegan Coaching, a company that is on a mission to help 10,000 people get lean, thrive, and reduce their risk of chronic illnesses by 2033 and 1 million by 2050. I believe that having a fit, healthy body and mind is the foundation to living an incredible life, and this is what the show will give you if you choose to listen and implement. Enjoy the episode and have a great day. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Fit Vegan Podcast. Today, we have another Fit Vegan success story. I'm joined by Fit Vegan superstar, Shona. Shona, how are you doing today?
I'm very well. Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah. Very excited for us to record. And this is your first podcast, so I feel honored. Yeah.
Yes. A little nervous, like I said.
You'll do great. And, just for the people listening, have a little update on you, right? You're about 7 months into your transformation so far. You went from about 180 to 151. So you lost around 29 pounds. You lost 5 inches around your waist so far from your last measurements. And you're 63 years young.
Yes. Feeling
awesome.
Younger. Yeah.
Good. Well, let's dive into your story and kind of who you are, because a lot of people, when they think about transforming, they think that they need to be at a certain place in their life. They think that their schedule needs to be completely cleared up, and that's all they're going to focus on, for 7-8 months straight. So kind of where were you at before you started the program? What was life like before you stepped into this?
Life was it was very comfortable. I was already in the process of trying to lose some weight. I was not doing any exercise to speak of, really. I am retired, fully retired, and have been for many years, but your days are still filled up with things and, things in the house and clearing out things, et cetera, dogs, et cetera, et cetera. But I had a pretty sedentary life, I would say, compared to what I'm doing now. And I was eating okay, but not completely plant-based. I was eating a bit of fish, a bit of eggs, a bit of cheese. No, more than a bit of cheese, and things like that. But I had cut down, and I had already lost some weight. But then my husband was interested in starting your program. Yeah. And he asked me if I wanted to come on board, and I said, sure, why not? I was a little bit concerned because of all the exercise involved, because it is just not something I do. Yeah. But I thought, nope, I can do this. I have time to do this. So.
Oh, good. So it's Barry that coaxed you into doing the program.
Barry, because he was quite excited to start doing the program because he is very exercise driven. Yeah. And so for that, it was the opposite for him. The exercise was the easier part for him, but doing the food, etc., was the challenge for him. So we balanced each other well because we each had our strengths to do, go into this.
Yeah,
I knew the food over it. I could do the food.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about that later, how it was doing it as a couple together. But I'm happy that Barry came back in. I haven't heard of talk to Barry in 3-4 years since I worked with him many years ago.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how he came across this. I'm not sure.
Probably
LinkedIn. Maybe LinkedIn. Yeah.
We have each other on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you were trying to lose weight before, but it sounds like you were more kind of just trying to use nutrition as the means to lose the weight versus exercise.
My main thing was actually, I wouldn't even call it nutrition because I was eating just about anything at that point, but I was using calorie deficit.
Okay.
As my controller, so the weight was coming off. I wasn't taking it seriously for that. I've talked to Sarah regarding this, that for about 2 years, it took me 2 years to lose about 30 pounds because I wasn't taking it seriously and, off and on. And I also was not doing not a lick of exercise. I was walking and doing regular things with dogs, etc., but I was not doing, weight training. And then I decided to get serious because I thought, this is stupid. You know, you're a grown up. I could, you know, I can do this. And then,
Yeah.
so when Barry asked me to try this program, then I went into it, surprising to myself, full on, like really dedicated myself to paying attention to everything I was supposed to eat, every exercise I was supposed to do. Even in the middle of winter, when I didn't want to walk out in miserable weather, I walked up and down my hallways to get my
Yeah.
steps in constantly. If I was on a long phone call, I would just talk on the phone and walk around my house, you know. So I've been, you know, really, so, and in the 7 months that I've been with you guys, I've lost 30 pounds. So, you know, 2 years for 30 pounds and then 7 months for 30 pounds. It was quite different. And the strength I've gained has been the biggest surprise to me.
Yeah. Well, I definitely want to talk about the strength and nutrition. So
Yeah.
let's do strength first.
Mm.
How was that starting a strength routine? Have you ever done like strength
Uh,
training like you have now in the
I
past?
have, I have in the past. I had done strength training, etc., when I was, you know, in my 30s, 40s, maybe a bit into my 50s, off and on. But I had found with many of the trainers I had hooked up with, many of them were a lot younger than me. And
Yeah.
many of them were really pushing me to do things that were, you know, I ended up, and I was quite overweight. So I, you know, I was like, you know, another 60 something pounds overweight at the time. And I actually felt like I was going to throw up and pass out half the time. So that put
Oh,
me off doing it. So I would end
yeah.
up stopping doing it, you know, it's because, and they just go, oh, no, you know, you got to go, you know, kill yourself. They just kept pushing me. And for me, the type of person I am, that just put me off and I would stop. Whereas when I started with you guys, I laid it out for Sarah that how like non-athletic I was and how if I got pushed too hard too quickly, I would probably back off and that. So my
Yeah.
exercises started with things I was capable of doing and not too many reps and not too much weight, just enough that I would feel it, but I
Hmm.
didn't feel sick and ill, like I couldn't do anything else for the rest of the day after doing it. So I was encouraged to keep going because I felt like I could, and gradually they've been built up and, you know, a little bit more weight, a little bit more difficulty, etc. You know, I can do a minimal plank now, but I can do a plank, which I couldn't even hold myself for 2 seconds off the ground when I started. So,
Yeah.
so
That's
it's
awesome.
increased and it feels good. Yeah. And I definitely have more strength, definite, and stamina, like resilience for sure.
Yeah. You know, it's actually very common. I hear the comment often of like I used to have a personal trainer and he would just beat the living out of me. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you're gonna puke. And yeah, I think what's important, kind of what we did with you and ultimately with every member, is meet you where you're at. Like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
make you work out like an athlete if you have no intention of competing.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we want to start at a place where you know that it's doable and it's not going to
Yeah.
be debilitating to the rest of your day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what it has been. I mean, even as things have increased and it's gotten a bit tougher sometimes, you know, when you're first starting your next, you know, your newer sets of
Yeah.
things that you haven't done in the past month, etc. I still don't feel like, oh God, I can't do that the another day, or I can't, you know, I'm inspired to keep pushing myself, which again is new for me. I'm very
Yeah.
quick I used to be very quick to give up, you know, because it just felt like it was too much for me and I'm not made for this, you know, etc. And now I'm the one that's like always pushing. I'm the one that if there's an escalator to use, nope, even if I'm carrying small luggage, I will hoof it up the stairs at an airport instead of taking the escalator 2 stories, you know, or whatever. So yeah, I'm surprising everybody
Yeah.
around me.
So do you feel there's been like a shift in your relationship with exercise compared to before?
Yeah, definitely for me because I can. Barry used to have to compensate for me my lack of energy or my
Hmm.
lack of stamina, you know, and that sort of held him back sometimes, or he would not do things that he might otherwise do because he knew that I couldn't or wouldn't. And so now it's sort of it's evening out a lot more now, but it's also sometimes turning the tables, you know, because say for example on a cruise ship, I even if I'm dead tired, I'm climbing up 8, 9 decks, you know, without pausing. Not fast, but climbing them, you know. Whereas
Yeah.
before I would have had to stop at 3 decks and he would still be going, you know, whereas now and I'm sort of passing him a bit now sometimes. So
Yeah.
that kind of feels good, you know.
Yeah. Knowing
because he's
Barry, I know
quite
he's
fit. Yeah.
competitive.
He's
He's
very
competitive.
competitive and he's quite fit, for his age, actually, so
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it's good. It's been good.
Yeah. Barry
It
has a
has
great
changed because we
trans.
do things together too. We do some like go for walks, hikes, whatever together now. Whereas
Yeah.
before I couldn't do it.
Yeah. Barry has a great transformation. I'll get him on the podcast too. I'll do an episode with him.
Yeah. No, he's doing
Um,
really well for, better than most guys his age,
definitely.
right? He's
Yeah.
a bit older than me. So it's been good.
Yeah. So besides like the plank, any other like exercises or things that you notice where your new strength kind of came in and it surprised you?
Yeah, I got a lot better at one of my most hated exercises. They used to be lunges
Yeah, I still
because
hate
they
them.
they uh they just kill. I still don't like them, but they killed me before. Like my legs would start shaking, I'd lose my balance. I did, it was just so lunges I'm okay doing. And even sometimes when it doesn't require me to pick up weights to do it, I'll pick up a weight and hold it
Yeah.
anyways, just to give that little bit extra, you know, extra something to and I've increased my weights along with the reps, which has been nice. So I'm, as I've told you guys before, I have two really large dogs, one who's old that I could never help lift into the vehicle to take her for a walk because she can't.
Yeah.
And now I can lift her on my own and she's 130 pounds, so
That's
I
impressive.
couldn't move her before. Yeah, I don't I can get her in the van now by myself. So that's a huge accomplishment and makes me feel good because I can help her if she needs it.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for this to be a part of kind of your routine now. And, I don't think you would have said this before. Like, I'm gonna add weight because I want more resistance. Um,
Oh,
must have been a shift.
absolutely. A huge, massive shift. I mean, before, even on the days off, you do 2 days of workout, then you have a Wednesday off. At least I do, and then
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday workout, then you get the weekend off. On the days I'm off, and I said this yesterday on the podcast, or not the podcast, the weekly talk.
Yeah.
Um, I start to feel a bit itchy to do something because I'm not doing something. So I do walk, but every now and
Yeah.
then I'll stop and just do a few wall push-ups, or I'll do a few squats, or I'll do something because I feel like I feel like I want to be doing something. Not
Yeah.
necessarily a full workout, but something, and that is so not me. Like
Yeah.
that is so,
You're just doing
so
random
new for
push-ups
me.
throughout your walk. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a new
I'll be in
version
the
of
house,
you.
if I'm in the house, or I'm walking. I mean, where we live, there's a lot of really large Douglas fir trees, etc. So I can just stop by the side of a road and just do some push-ups against a tree, or
Yeah.
do some squats when I'm standing at the fence petting horses or something. So, or just go up and down on my toe, work the calf muscle. So I take opportunities to do just my own body weight bearing exercise on my days off
Yeah.
from regular exercise.
Good. Well, so question for you about the exercise. So you've worked with the
Mm-hmm.
personal trainer in person before. We're fully
Mm-hmm.
digital. We're fully online. So everything takes place through
Yeah.
our platform. How did you find doing the workouts safely and effectively and doing the exercises? How was that for you?
I think a couple of things played into that is because I had worked out with trainers before, I was aware of form and
Yeah.
how to do a proper curl or how to do a proper lunge or squat, or I know how to hold my body properly so to avoid injury and to actually get some benefit from so that did help. However, I think the videos that go along with each exercise that show you how to do it are really helpful for especially for anybody who maybe is brand new to weight bearing exercise or to training like this. And
Yeah.
also, I mean, I could access my coach. I could just send out a little note and say, hey, am I doing this right? Or if I do that way, is it going to hurt? And she would get back to me fairly, pretty quickly and say, oh no, don't do it that way, or try this instead. Or, because there were some exercises I found too challenging in the beginning. And so I got her to swap them out for
Yeah.
something a little easier, but still would get some effect, and then we did that and worked our way up to where I am now.
Yeah.
So I thought the
Good.
video worked really well, especially because I had been with trainers before. I kind of knew what to expect.
Yeah, good. Because that's a lot of people's concern with going online. It's like there's no one there looking at my form. And ultimately we have the videos. And I kind of spoke with
Yeah.
this with Barry this week as I'm gonna be filming, I'm renting a gym in 2-3 weeks. And I'm gonna be recording my own exercise videos. So I can
Oh,
actually like
right.
explain properly all the cues and little techniques and strategies.
Right.
they'll be a little bit longer than the ones that you guys have right now, but at least I'll
Hmm.
explain in depth every single movement.
Yeah, I think that'll be great, especially
Yeah.
for brand new people that are new to this type of exercise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's dive into the nutrition side. So you
Mm,
mentioned when you first started, you were still eating a little bit more like animal-based products, and you kind of
yeah.
just made the jump into not only eating plant-based, but everything we do is whole food plant-based. So we don't
Right.
necessarily include any fake vegan products. And
Right.
so how was that transition for you to basically eating the opposite side of the spectrum?
Yeah, it was not hard because a lot of the food that we're preparing, like I've done vegan style eating, or plant actually totally plant based, like not even soy products or anything. I did that for some time and learned how to prepare it, etc. So I had the cooking skills down already for myself, but getting away from like grabbing a little piece of cheese or getting
Yeah.
away, when you're a little bit snacky, you think, I'll just have a couple of pieces of cheese that'll tide me over. That's where I had to pay attention to
Yeah.
myself. So leaning or jumping right into vegan eating was not too much of a challenge for myself or Barry because we've been dabbling in it for a few years. But
Yeah.
getting away from just the easy, don't feel like making this meal. Let's just get takeout. Let's get some big salad, a house salad with some on it or something. I used to always get a big salad with a piece of salmon on it or something like that, thinking, okay,
Yeah.
well, it's not, it's lesser of the evils for takeout, but you stop doing that. So you have to think ahead. You have to plan ahead. That I'd say that was the challenge with the food a bit, was making sure you did do the meal prep,
Yeah.
at least with your main things. Have your grains ready, cook those up, have your beans all cooked up, have, you can do your vegetables and your tofu at the time of cooking, but
It's pretty
have the
quick. Yeah.
base, the big base stuff ready. So planning,
Yeah.
and focusing. So we really focused hard for about the first month or two, that we just sort of, we didn't drop stuff, but we made our main focus food and exercise, so that we would get ourselves saturated into the program.
Yeah, it's more like an initial full immersion just to make sure
Yes.
that like the habits are repeated more often at the
Yes.
beginning.
Yeah. Because then they get embedded, and then
Yeah.
you're less likely to stray off the path.
Yeah. And how important was meal prepping for you and Barry throughout the process?
It was very important until, especially for Barry, when he got in the street, because I used to always do all the meal prep for any kind of whatever we were eating ever. I was usually the cook in the house, and I wanted him to learn how to prepare food for himself, especially if I'm traveling away and he's, and I don't want him defaulting
Eating
to
your
some bad
rice cake
habits.
and peanut butter.
Rice cakes and almond butter. Oh my goodness, yeah. Or yeah, he
We had a
just,
few calls on that. Yeah.
yes, he tends to do that if he gets busy. He'll just
Yeah.
grab what he thinks is okay, and but to have stuff ready ahead of time, and he's improved on that immensely, and he's also become quite a good cook prep. He can make any of the meals, and he
Yeah.
can sometimes, if I don't feel like cooking, he'll just make double what he's supposed to be eating, because we have roughly the same menus, just different calorie density, and he'll
Yeah.
make the meal, and then he'll make some for me as well. So we take turns now, sort of making the dinners, not so much breakfast and lunch, but dinners we'll take turns, and he's quite adept now at
Yeah.
cooking, preparing vegan food. Yeah, it's nice to see.
Yeah, well, that makes me happy because I know that was one of the goals, right? That
Hmm.
both of you wanted for Barry was to
Yes.
get him to be a bit more proficient in the kitchen when it comes to cooking plant-based meals.
Yeah, and good meals, filling meals, nutritious meals, not just the rice cake, which are easy to throw down, make a smoothie, make a couple of rice cakes, with almond
Yeah,
butter.
yeah. Hey, I
Yeah.
default to that sometimes. I get it. So I want to talk about like how did you notice any differences in how you felt with the nutrition and the training changes? Like, was there differences in energy? Did you sleep better? Was there kind of major changes that you noticed?
Yeah, I started fairly quickly to sleep better, not perfect, but it started to improve fairly quickly. With the nutrition as well, I started to feel, because I think it's probably true for almost anybody, you'd feel better when you're eating proper food.
Yeah,
Not over processed, not over, now, I know what it's like, cheeseburgers and all that. Yeah, they light up all the things in your brains, and it's good in the moment, but the aftermath is, brings you down and tires you out and makes you feel like crap. So when you're eating more nutritiously, your body responds. It's like it's like, oh, going, yay, you're treating me nice. I'll be good for you because you're being good for me. So I started to have a little bit more energy. I wasn't needing very quickly. I was like napping in the afternoons because I get tired around 2. I just have like a half hour or whatever nap, and because I was just so tired I couldn't stay awake. Well, now I don't know. I couldn't even tell you the last time I napped. I have no clue the last time I napped now.
Oh, good. To make it
So
through a full
I'm
day,
sleeping
even with the
better. Yeah.
workouts.
Even with the workouts. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes when we're traveling, depending on where we were, like when we were in Hawaii and we were doing so much walking, like 15, almost 20,000 steps a day, plus doing a workout that day, plus climbing all these decks, etc. I was not collapsing. I would have been like, if I'd been doing it last January or something, I would have been just falling down ill, needing to go to see the medical people or something, because that would have right, it would have destroyed me. But now I just can keep going, and it's nice.
Yeah. So I love to talk about like kind of the trips that you and Barry went on, because you went on a few cruises. I think 2 or 3 of them.
2 or 3, I think. 1, 2, 3, actually, since we've joined this. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when we talk about like going through a fat loss journey, a lot of people think that the journey is going to be perfect. For some odd reason, we think that we'll be able to do all the workouts, that we'll be able to be compliant with nutrition 100% the whole way through, which is good intention. But at the end of the day, like life happens, there's vacation, there's urgencies, there's things that happen in your day. So your kind of cruise ships would be a reason for a lot of people to completely go off track and be like, hey, I'm on vacation, I'm on a cruise, I'm just going to eat whatever I want, not exercise. But you guys did the opposite. So I want to kind of ask you, like, what was your game plan while you were on a cruise ship to stay consistent with these things?
What we did, 2 things. We would either go to he would go to the gym. I took my bands with me. So I did a lot of my workouts just in my cabin because there was enough space. And then we would do all the work, walking around on the ship, etc. 2, we did not go to the dining rooms.
Okay.
Because when you go for the fancy dining at night or etc., that's when you're tempted, and you also have no control over what's on your plate. They may have, mostly they do have vegan options, but usually vegan means a lot of pasta.
Yeah.
And things like this. So we went to the buffet all the time. Now, a lot of people would think the buffet was also too much to handle, but if you just get in your mind, we just decided we are not straying from this.
Yeah.
We're going to eat. And if we can't get tofu and we can't get we're just going to load up on the vegetables, whether they're fresh or cooked. You can always get oatmeal. You can get a grain. They often had quinoa or brown rice. You can get some of that. So we just decided we were going to load up on whatever goodness we could get if we were hungry. And we also took our protein with, not on every cruise, not the last one, we forgot it, but the other cruises, we took the protein shake with us. Yeah. And they will provide you with, if you ask, they will give you soy milk or
good
almond milk or oat milk, whatever it is you're looking for. They will find, because they have it on board. And so they were giving us like big, the big cartons of it to take to keep in our cabin so we can make our shakes, eat fruit. We just grabbed fruit if we were feeling tempted in the afternoon. And so we just kept focused and stayed away from the areas where there's tempted, where the pizza is or where the ice cream is, or ice cream's not a thing for me, but pizza could be. Just the smell of it, I think, oh, just one piece, I'll have it. But I'm at the point where I don't even do that anymore. I don't go, oh, just one piece, I'll just cheat today and I'll get back on it. I just don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do it to myself. So that was the reason to stay really focused on the cruises. Is the only people we would be cheating or getting one over on was ourselves, and then we'd have to climb back from that, because it really will kick you back hard if you do 2 weeks on a cruise ship and just have a free for all.
Yeah, for sure.
You
do a lot of damage in 2 weeks.
A lot of damage in 2 weeks on a cruise ship. So, and also we're not drinking alcohol. And I'm not at all. Barry will have the occasional beer, but I stopped having any alcohol probably last fall. And it wasn't because of weight loss. It was just not agreeing with me anymore. I just didn't feel
Yeah.
good having a couple of glasses of wine. And so I just stopped. And so that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Because, if you have a few drinks, you give yourself permission,
Yeah.
because your guards down after a few cocktails, and you'll think, oh, okay, forget it, I'll do it tomorrow. But so we just put ourselves in position to not fail, so that there was nothing we were going to put in our way that was going to, give us reason to go off the rails.
Yeah, for sure. The alcohol removes the willpower and discipline that you have. It's that last little
Absolutely.
layer that you're always
Yeah.
wavering on goes away. And then you just make whatever
Yeah.
decision your brain
Gross.
says, basically.
Yeah.
Um,
It
so
also
question.
helps too that there's a lot, we're supporting each other,
Yeah.
right? We're supporting each other. So it's not like he's eating what he wants and drinking and I'm not, or the other way around. And also our children, our family, everybody knows we're doing this. So
Yeah.
people, if they come to us or we go out for dinner with them, they're actually ordering what we order,
Yeah.
so that they're not eating
Leading by
something we might
example.
kind of be leading by example. And there, people are starting to ask us for smoothie recipes and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Oh, good. We got
yeah,
hundreds of them now.
got hundreds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, they're
So
tasty.
question for you. For a lot of people
Hmm.
that aren't in kind of this health and exercise movement and kind of this momentum that you and Barry are on, if they think
Hmm.
of going on a cruise ship or going on a vacation or something, and they think of, making healthy decisions and exercising and still moving throughout it, for them, it may feel like they won't enjoy themselves as much. So I think I already know the answer, but did you and Barry enjoy yourself on those 3 trips that you did?
Oh, thoroughly. Thoroughly. Because when you start feeling better, eating better, moving better, which is really important at this in this age group, like 60 and up, your point is to stay
Yeah.
pain-free and mobile, right? And when you can do that, and that the things you used to enjoy really weren't doing you a great deal of good. They were keeping you in that place of slight illness or full illness, depending on what your
Yeah.
situation is, but they keep you down, and it becomes your normal, and you think it's okay. And yeah, but I want to have cheesecake. And okay, well, have a bite of cheesecake. Like, you can get one and like cut a corner and just have a few little and really, and like, let it melt in your mouth. Don't just shovel it in and eat. If you're
Yeah.
going to have a little something, like, don't deprive yourself completely, but have a little something. But then
Yeah.
have your big salad for dinner and all that, and have your little piece of cheesecake or something. So we don't feel like we miss out on anything, because we're still having fun. We're still enjoying.
Yeah.
We're not
And
waking up with hangovers, and we're not
I was going to
feeling all
say,
sluggish and gross because we ate way too much and can't move. And, yeah.
yeah, that I told Ivy this because I went to Hawaii for a week with Ivy. It was like a Tony Robbins trip, and
Right.
we stayed for an additional week after, and we saw people like drinking and eating terrible food. And Ivy and I were like going grocery shopping, prepping our food, exercising
Yeah.
every day. And I was like, I don't get why people would not exercise and eat terrible food, because it would make me feel shitty automatically. And then I wouldn't feel
Yeah.
good on my vacation. Like, I would just want to sleep, stay home, watch TV. Like, I don't want to go out and hike a volcano or walk on the beach or go surfing, because you keep
Right.
tired from eating that food and from drinking.
Yeah. Yeah. And but like I was sort of saying before, I think people get so used to a certain state of being, a certain way of feeling, that's what they're normal. They think they're okay, even
Yeah.
if they're overweight, or even if they're overweight or not. I mean, you've got a lot of, slender people who are really unwell because
Yeah,
of
for
what they're
sure.
eating and what they're not doing. And, and so they're so used to sort of feeling not fabulous, but not horrible, that they just accept that and keep going with it, and don't realize there is another state of being. There is another way to be and feel
Yeah.
good and look forward to your day, not wake up in the morning and go, oh God, I've got to get out of bed. Now I might still be tired some mornings, but I get up and
Yeah.
I get going, and I used to drag myself in the morning, you know. So in general, just, I feel great. I feel really good.
Awesome. Well, I can feel it. I can feel it through your
Yeah.
smile and through your energy. Um,
Yeah, I
you know,
know. Yeah.
I love to ask, how was it to do that with Barry? Because I'll kind of preface that throughout the years, and again, I think we're well over 700 people that we've coached so far and that we've helped with their transformation. I think the biggest thing I've seen in couples that would either cause success or failure or a lot of hindrance is an unsupportive partner. And so
Yeah.
you and Barry obviously are very close and you're on the same journey and you're able to do it together. And so we have obviously a lot of women that listen to the podcast that wish their partner would do it with them. They don't know necessarily what the experience would be like. So how was that for you and Barry to do that together?
Again, for us, we might be a little bit different than some of them, only because, was it 10 years ago? Barry is type 2 diabetic, and he was getting to the peak of he was not controlling it well because he was not eating great. And he was at the top of what he could take medication wise, like metformin, etc. And it was going to, he'd end up on insulin and a totally failing pancreas if he kept going on the path. So I started researching and, found, plant-based eating, plant-based, juice fasts, etc., things like that to help him. So that was the beginning of us dipping our toes into this, because he wanted to control it with diet, not with more medication. So he did that, and he was really strict with it for a good 5 years. And then he started, wandered off a little bit, but not terrible, kept his eyes on it. So we were already sort of working together on that, because I said, I'll eat like you have to. I'll eat, I might have a little bit extra something, but I'll eat mostly, so, because I was, again, at that time, I was doing all the food prep, right? Not him.
Yeah.
So, and then the kids were younger, and so they were on board. They said, well, we'll be vegetarian, at least we'll help dad, kind of, to support. So our family kind of went around him to help him do that. So it wasn't too hard for us to be supportive of each other doing this.
Yeah.
I think, though, if you are in a relationship where husband or wife still wants steak and baked potatoes and to drink a bottle of wine on a weekend or, whatever, Friday night, let them, if they want to, but you choose what you're doing. I mean, that's kind of what we do when we're with friends or other people who are just doing whatever they want to do, and we're still controlling, or we'll bring our own food to a gathering so that we have what we need to eat. And we just say, no, this is what we're doing. And, and eventually they start watching you, and they start seeing that you're changed and that you're happier and that you seem brighter. And and then they start asking, well, what is it? What are you eating? What's going, so
what's
you can
just kind
of, what's the secret? So even if it's still within your own household, I mean, I'm not opposed to, if I was, I would cook chicken for somebody if I had to, but I'm not going to eat it. With them all the time. I may have a taste of the sauce I'm doing with it or whatever, but I'm not, so, I mean, I can still cook whatever meals, they may look for. If it, say Barry was not on board with this, I would cook him what he was looking for, but I would prepare mine separately, and just sort of, and try and work some meals that there's a little bit of a combo, like roast vegetables. You can eat steak and roast vegetables, and you can eat tofu and still, roast vegetables. So you can combine the two. Just stay on your path and let them do what they're doing. And I think people would eventually start swinging over and say, okay, well, I'll try that. I'll try it and see if I like it,
Yeah, for sure. It's leading by example, right? Because as soon as you start to lose weight, you start to feel better, have more energy. They're like, what is happening over there? Like, what have you been eating? What are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's I've been public about this, but that's my whole master plan, to help people go plant-based. Right. Like we've done hundreds of this fit vegan success stories, and then people listen to it, they're like, oh, I'm 63. I was kind of doing what Shona was doing. And then they're like, maybe that works for me. And then basically they're going to raise their hand, and then we can help them transform, and then they get to experience it for themselves. And then their whole community is impacted, because, you already mentioned that there are friends that are starting to ask for recipes and all that. And that's just the beginning of it, right? As you continue to thrive and feel better, more and more people are going to come and ask questions, and then you get to have a greater impact on the people that you love and care about around you.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what you hope for. You can't tell people what to do all the time, because they're not ready for it. No, if they're not ready for it, they're not going to become vegan, but if they switch out a couple of meals a week to start, it's a beginning. It's something to get away from some of the bad food, and to get people, because we're in that age group as well, where we're starting to see the end result of a lifetime a lifetime of abusing yourself, even though you don't think you are. You're really abusing yourself with poor diets, maybe too much alcohol or too much, whatever your,
No exercise.
drug of choice is. No exercise, it catches up. And it's
Yeah.
usually your mid to late 50s, you start to notice it, because you can still cruise through your 40s pretty good. But mid to late 50s, you start to go, oh, when did this
Shit.
start? Or when is
Yeah.
that, I have shit. I mean, I've got a lot of friends who are diabetic, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, non-alcoholic fatty livers,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff. And it's all lifestyle. And they could
Yeah.
all do something about it. And many of them are not ready to change, unfortunately, and it's, I don't know, it's frustrating sometimes, when you're in this world and you're feeling good and you know what they could do, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the hard part of caring. You can't help the people that want to be helped. You can only save the people that want to be saved, basically.
Yeah.
And so I love to ask you, because we have a lot of people listening to the podcast that are longtime members, new members, people that will join the program in the next few months, people that are just brand new to veganism and are kind of just dipping their toe into potentially eating more plant-based. What are pieces of advice that you can give to people that are looking to get fitter, lose weight, eat plant-based, based off kind of your experience over the past 7 months?
In relation to this program, or just in general?
In general, with kind of
In
what you
general,
went through in your own journey.
yeah. I mean, I would say, that term people use for something is about leaning into it, especially if you've never done any of it before. The
Yeah.
exercise, even being a vegetarian, whatever. Lean slowly, give up one thing at a time in the beginning. Like, if you eat meat, red meat and pork and chicken and fish, or whatever, give up one of them.
Yeah.
And then, sort of still eat the others for, and then give up another one. And then get, if that's the way, some people can do it very cut and dry. Barry's that type. He
Yeah.
can just go from that's it. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not. I leaned into it when I first started, not in this program, but prior to this, I leaned into it a little bit slower. And I found that worked for me. Same with the exercise. Like when I started this program, even leaned into it slowly, did a little bit, enough that I would feel the muscle, a little bit of aching, the next day that something had worked, something had been worked out. And then I would just keep going and then slowly build it up without hurting myself. So I would say, if you're going from a completely sort of fast foodish, processed, high meat kind of diet, doing it cut and dry might be a challenge, but you could adopt a lot of these recipes and daily plans with, have tofu and maybe have a little piece of fish to start, if that's what you can do, because not everybody can just dive into tofu, right? I love tofu. It's not for everybody, but start with that. And then, eventually as you start feeling better and really enjoy, you start to crave the vegan food, you start to crave plant-based, you'll start naturally you'll be pushing out the bad stuff. So front load everything with your good stuff and keep your sort of bad stuff towards the end of your meal or the end of your plate. Eat all your greens and your vegetables and your tofu and your grains first. Maybe have that little piece of fish on the end just for a taste. And then eventually though, you'll think, why would I bother with a piece of fish? I might as well just, I'll just eat all this. So that's what I would do. Front load yourself with good stuff, the really highly nutritious stuff, and you'll start not wanting or looking for the bad stuff, because you're not going to crave it anymore, because it's an addiction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
In
definitely.
a way, and it's a natural instinct for humans to eat fat, salt, sugar, high calorie, whatever, for the famine. Well, the famine doesn't come anymore for us, not in the Western world.
Now, if you have a
There's an
Costco near you,
abundance
you're
of
good.
bad food to eat. Oh, Costco. Yeah, we've got Costco. We got everything, and, so people are just sort of programmed to eat badly. And it's almost like you can't help it because it's there and your taste buds want it and your body wants it, but if you keep moving the good stuff in, you will push the bad stuff out naturally. It just happens.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. Actually, it's the first time I hear it presented that way. So hopefully it connected for the people that are listening. I'd love to ask you. I'd love to ask every member, was it worth the investment to do the program?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, for me, especially, my thing is the exercise. If I hadn't done this program and gotten this exercise mentality now, which I never thought I'd have in my life.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm a person that exercises. Like, I never have been that. When I was younger, yes, I was involved in sports. I was involved in, dance and figure skating and skiing and all this stuff, but I've never been a sort of a gym person or a workout person.
Yeah.
But now I am. And I won't be stopping it. I'll be doing it, in some form. I mean, I even got Sarah to give me a set of exercises, sort of an all over exercise for the whole body,
Yeah.
that I could do if I was totally stuck with no bands, no weights, no way of doing anything. What could I do with just my body weight? And she gave me that for traveling, so that if all I've got is a bedroom or a walk-in closet to work out in, I've got some, some exercise I can do.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Good.
big change, big thing for me. I think it's well worth it anyways, because it really, with the weekly chats especially, and I encourage people, if they're on the program, to dial into those as much as you can weekly, because that's where you get the camaraderie with fellow tribe members. That's where you get new ideas from other people you may not have thought of, regarding recipes or travel, how to travel with food, or what do you do if you're in the middle of, I don't know, Africa somewhere, how do you eat, things like that. So but the weekly videos, and then talk to your coach, like ask your coach anytime, because the coaches are there to answer the questions, right? And so it's a nice community to be in, because everybody's sort of supporting everybody. If you don't have the support at home, you'll have the support within this community.
Yeah, that's beautifully
everybody
put.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people are typically the only person. A lot of people that we work with, they're the only person in their family, in their community, that's plant-based or interested in health. And so when they start
Right.
this journey, it's very challenging to have people to bounce ideas off of and kind of share their journey with. And so that's why the community chat is my favorite part of the program, because you have the opportunity to connect with a ton of people that are literally on the same boat as you. They eat the same way as you. They want to get better. They want to get healthier. And they're vulnerable about the journey, right? Like, hey, traveled and it wasn't that great, but I did this and that really helped.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. The community support and the coach support is really, I think, is what got me totally saturated in this.
Yeah.
Because if I was only just watching the videos for exercise and only just getting recipes, but not having communication, for example, with other people regarding, I think then I could have fallen off,
Yeah.
And it's not even like accountability. It's not accountability. Like, you have to be accountable to this group or to you or to Sarah, it's, you want to be there to support other people that are really trying hard to change their life and their health, and you look forward to the meetings, and you race home to get on them, and things like that, because it's like, oh no, it's 4:00, it's Tuesday, I got to get on the call, So I mean, I was doing it from a cruise ship, multiple cruise ships.
That.
Well, the last 2 cruises I was on in the middle of the Pacific, and I could get on the Zoom call, so it's possible for anybody.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, I'm very proud of you and Barry for the transformation that you've both had. And it was really cool to see both of you do it together. I want to say big thank you for taking the time to jump on the podcast. It's the first podcast. You did an incredible job.
I know. My mouth is dry. It's a nurse.
Me too. I got the heat on in the apartment, and it's pretty hot.
Heat but in Los Angeles?
Yeah, it was a little bit cold today. I don't think I was born to, like, I don't think I was made to live in Canada. I was made for LA. Okay. So when it's like LA, when it's like 15, I'm like, oh, it's chilly.
Okay. It was -2 here, or -3 this morning here.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm in Los Angeles.
You're happy you're in LA. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So I'll say thank you for your time. And for the people listening,
my pleasure.
Like Shona spoke about recipes, so there's a link down below in the description where you guys can access our free Fit Vegan community, basically a free Facebook group where I do live trainings. And if you join, you get 100 recipes. It's like breakfast, snacks, smoothies, lunches, and dinners that some of our members get. If you're interested in working with us, there's a link down below to do that as well. Shona, thank you very much for jumping on, and excited to see the rest of your transformation.
Yes, still have quite some time, a bit of time to go yet.
Awesome. All right. Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye.